This is an article from thetelegraph.co.uk, Doctor Who Season 2 review. Great intro for the new companion, but a bit preachy subtext. So this is an article reviewing the first episode of the new season, which once again stars Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor, as you know, but now he has a new companion. The subheading says, Varada Sethu makes a strong first impression as Belinda Chandra in a tale mixing high sci-fi with toxic masculinity. Yeah, I'm sure it's real high sci-fi, highbrow intellectual stuff, no doubt. But the bit there about toxic masculinity, do go on. I'm very interested. I'm sure this I'm sure this is going to draw massive amounts of eyeballs. Let's read on. Anything that adolescents can do on Earth, Doctor Who can do in space and time. The sci-fi favourite returns with an episode full of rockets, ray guns, and killer robots, but an underlying theme of toxic masculinity. How very current year. Sounds like just the remedy Doctor Who needed for its declining ratings. Right, guys? Guys? Welcome to the planet of the incels. Location unconfirmed, but presumably somewhere in the manosphere. Yeah, that's supposed to be a joke, incidentally. I know, it's getting harder to tell these days. Those who criticize the rebooted series for being preachy and overtly political are unlikely to be placated by this unsubtle swerve into the culture wars. A shame, because as far as episodes introducing new companions go, the robot revolution works a treat. Well, I think it's likely that Doctor Who is going to be continuing on its woke trajectory and not course correcting, despite the previous season having the lowest rated episodes in the 60-year history of the franchise because of the wokeness. I think it's quite simple. The show hasn't been renewed for a third series with Gatwa. So this second season with him is likely going to be the last one for a while. I think the powers that be running the show know that there likely isn't very long left for Doctor Who. The damage is done at this point. They might as well just keep going with the woke stuff. I mean, they've received so much criticism for it from fans for so long. They know that criticism is there. They know that dissatisfaction is there in the fan base. And yeah, I fully expect them not to change. They're not going to change at this point. Why should they? You know, if this is going to be the final season of the show for a while, as a lot of us expect, then they're more likely to just double down on it. I mean, it almost feels like they're just rubbing the fans' noses in it at this point. The article continues, Varada Sethu makes an immediate impact as Belinda Chandra, the most reluctant TARDIS traveller in recent memory. Feisty and formidable, she takes no nonsense from the 15th Doctor. I'm not one of your adventures, she insists. It's refreshing to see the intergalactic know-all on the back foot for a change. For a change. The Doctor has been on the back foot when it comes to being talked down to by other companions, especially female companions, for quite some time now. I mean, he was talked down to and put in his place since as far back as the Capaldi era. I mean, how many times did Clara talk down to him and show him up, you know? Despite Belinda's apparent immunity to the Time Lord's dazzling smile and dashing charisma, it's still a magical moment when she sees the interior of that blue police box for the first time. Wow, a new companion was shocked by the TARDIS being bigger on the inside. Never saw that before in the previous 60 years of the franchise. Belinda's day job as an A&E nurse enables some wry medical gags. Some things never change, she mutters, while tending to injured anti-robot rebels. There's always a doctor standing back while the nurses do all the hard work. Wow, she doesn't sound obnoxiously self-absorbed or anything. Back in her teens, Belinda's ex-boyfriend named a star after her as a romantic birthday gift. Fast forward to the present day, and the robots living on that far-flung planet come to claim her as their queen. They kidnap Belinda in their spaceship, planning to marry her off to their overlord, the AI generator. Artificial intelligence and male rage, writer Russell T Davies manages to squeeze 2 hot-button issues into 45 minutes of tea-time action. I'm sure this is actually what the long-time fan base have always wanted, right? The long-time fan base, which is predominantly male. It's the family-friendly slot that makes the lurch into gender politics tonally jarring. What? The lurch into gender politics? As Mr. H Reviews mentioned in his video on this, Doctor Who embraced lefty gender politics years ago. It's kind of the reason the show is in the condition it's in right now. They've been feminizing the Doctor for years, talking about how the future is going to be all girl as far back as the Capaldi era. Then, of course, they gender swapped the Doctor. They introduced trans themes and turning the Doctor gay, including having a gay kiss in the previous season. Gender politics in Doctor Who is not something new. It's actually a feature of Doctor Who at this point. It feels like Doctor Who is just a platform for the message. A hard-hitting Netflix drama is one thing. Early evening entertainment is another. One can imagine young viewers turning to their parents and asking what species these scary-sounding incels are, and whether coercive control is a bit like a remote control. Good luck answering those, grown-ups. This stab at satire is daft, dumb, and clumsily done. So, I'll say this in conclusion. If Doctor Who is going to be cancelled after this upcoming season, or, put on ice for a few years, as we suspect it might be, I think it actually makes sense for them to basically go for broke and stay woke in this upcoming season. I don't think there's any reason for them to shift gears. I don't think they're going to abandon the message. It's not like they have to worry about being renewed after this season. And it's felt like for many years now, like the people running Doctor Who are basically just making the show for people who think like they do. People who share their political worldview, which is to say not that many people. So it's kind of like that saying, in for a penny, in for a pound, sunk cost and all that. The show is, of course, also partly funded by the British TV licence fee anyway, so it's always been kind of propped up by that. So I think the show will likely be further run into the ground until the very end, which I think will most likely be on May 31st, when this upcoming season ends. And if it does come back after that at some point, I think it's going to be, the odd TV special here and there, or maybe a Christmas special now and again. But I will say this, I'm very much looking forward to seeing the weekly ratings numbers for each episode after it airs. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thanks very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. A lot of you guys watch the show but don't subscribe, so please do that. And also hit that notification bell, hit that like button, share the video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.